Today we will discuss about the multifaceted role of these pancreatic stellate cells or PSC in the pancreatic cancer. So in general, these pancreatic stellate cells are present in the pancreas and it's get activated in case of an injury and helps in the this cellular matrix formation. In the normal conditions, they used to maintain the ECM levels, whereas in the injury conditions, they can overproduce the ECM. And sometimes during this, or sometimes or many times during the chronic pancreatitis or pancreatic cancer state, this PSCs helps in this high fibrosis ECM formations, and thereby promoting immunosuppressions. At the same time, helps these cancer cells towards survivals and developing this EMT status, that is epithelial-to-mesenchymal transition. So how these things works out, and there is complex networks of these pancreatic stellate cells, myeloid derived suppressor cells, and the pancreatic cancer cells, and together helps the development or the progression of these pancreatic cancers. We will discuss that things. So this from the mast cells, which gets activated with the presence of this IL-13, and it leads to the formation of this activated pancreatic stellate cells or this myeloid derived suppressor cells. And one of the functions that is common in both myeloid derived suppressor cells and activated platelet cells is to provide immunosuppressions, and however both of them works in a slightly different manner. So this myeloid derived suppressor cells, what it does, it will release this reactive oxygen species that we have discussed in the previous video, and this reactive oxygen species will provide immunosuppressions by suppressing or deactivating this cytotoxic T cells or the CD4 plus T cells. And the CD4 plus T cells usually release this CXCL12 to reduce or provide anti-tumor efficacies, provide anti-tumor functions against these pancreatic cancer cells or to kill the pancreatic cancer cells. So these things will be reduced through this myeloid derived suppressor cells by secreting reactive oxygen species, thereby reducing these activated T cells. On the other hand, this activated pancreatic stellate cells, what it does is it will sequester the cytotoxic T cells, or it will trap the cytotoxic T cells, thereby reducing the amount of activated T cells that can act upon these pancreatic cancer cells. So this is one way by which these activated pancreatic stellate cells and myeloid derived stem cells helps in this pancreatic cancer development. The other way is that this activated pancreatic stellate cells can provide these hypoxia conditions to the pancreatic cancer cells, and these hypoxia conditions helps in the progression of these pancreatic cancer cells by providing immunosuppressions environment. At the same time, helps in this metastasis or invasions of these pancreatic cancer cells. And on the other hand, these pancreatic cancer cells, more the pancreatic cancer cells developed, then it will also helps in these activations of the pancreatic stellate cells. So all these things we can see that seems to be interlinked to each other. And in overall, what it will does is that this close network of interactions will helps these pancreatic cancer cells in its survival and in the development of this EMT status, that is epithelial-to-mesenchymal transitions, which is essential to migrate the cancer cells, not just pancreatic, any cancer cells, from its primary tumor sites to secondary tumor sites. And also this CSC functions. So it is cancer stem cell functions, that is once these stem cells are formed, they can reproduce. If the cancer stem cells are formed, they can reproduce and replicate faster. So, and this is how this multifaceted role of this pancreatic stellate cells helps in the pancreatic cancer cell development. One way is by reducing the host immune system response, and on the other way, promoting the pancreatic cancer cells to develop its metastatic or migration capabilities through these EMT changes, thereby spreading the tumors from primary tumor sites to the secondary tumor sites. So these are a basic overview about how the pancreatic cancer cell development occurs and the roles of this myeloid derived stem cells and the activated pancreatic cancer cells towards their progression. If you need to understand more about this close network, how they interact with each other, you can go through the reference that has been provided in the description. So that's all for this video. Thank you for your time.